Hello and welcome. Glad you decided to stop by and see if I've got anything of value to add to your life. I'm going to talk a little bit about this idea of principle of attraction, or most people call it the law of attraction. And some people believe that we attract everything that happens to us. We attract uh, problems, we attract misery, we attract joy, we attract happiness, we attract everything, which, you know, really isn't the case, particularly if we're talking about energy. And that's what attraction is all about. Energy. Similar energy tends to attract similar energy. Information tends to pool around similar information. It's kind of like self-supporting. So mostly we are probably attracted to events that initiate those events that are happening around us. And believe it or not, we do this by choice. It's just the way things work out. Everything is about us. Everything that happens to us, we are essentially the author of. And we are the author through our responses and through our reactions. That is how we are responsible. So I want to look at a couple of cliches here that people associate with attraction. And the first cliche is what comes around goes around. What the hell does that mean? Well, most people would say that if you are unruly towards someone, well, then someone is going to be unruly to you. Well, maybe. But if that's true, then that would mean that if you are nice to someone, if you are nice to people, then people should be nice to you. And it doesn't really work out like that, does it? I don't know about you, but those times when I am nice, I am still treated callously. And this it can be particular to those with disabilities, such as mental disabilities. People don't want to be around people who aren't right in the head. And I'm one of those that's not right in the head. I have a cognitive delay. You don't notice it here, but by the end of the day, it's kind of like sundowners syndrome with those people experiencing Alzheimer. The longer I'm active mentally in particular, the slower my thinking becomes. So that concept does not necessarily hold water. What does hold water is that if you are nice or you treat people with respect, the likelihood of your being treated in a similar manner increases. See, there's this field that's around us. It's an information field that is around us. And Rupert Sheldrake calls this a morphic field. And it's an information field. That's what it is. And this information field interacts with similar information fields. And the field is not just associating with us, the field communicates with the fields of other people. This is why the likelihood of people treating you in a similar fashion as you treat others increases. And it's not a one-off thing. It's not if you're angry today, then tomorrow or the rest of the week somebody's going to be angry towards you. It doesn't work like that. It's an aggregate. It's a pooling of energy, a pooling of information energy that draws it. And expands it. And people of similar natures, they pick up on it. It's like sitting down next to somebody on a park and they feel kind of icky. Well, why do they feel icky? It's because their energy is not meshing with your energy at that particular time. Sit down next to them later that day, and that ickiness may not even be there. This is the idea behind it. And as I said, being nice to others does not initiate similar responses. It merely increases the likelihood. And the other thing about this principle of attraction is that we are dealing with cause and effect. All of these nice little natural principles that we have cut up all bleed into each other and they form the principles of nature. We cut them up so we can better understand them, but they don't work on an individual basis like a lot of people try to tell us. They flow right into each other. They're all a part of each other. It's not two sides of the same coin. It's the same coin, period. So when you include the idea of cause and effect, then what is being proposed to you is that you become the cause when you smile at someone, when you flip them off, when you blow kisses at some, whatever. You are the cause, and the effect is the other person's response. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, it explains this something, maybe not this, but explains something very, very succinctly. You have a right to all that you do. All that you do emanates, is caused by, initiated by you. However, the fruits of those actions, the effects, are not yours. They don't belong to you. You cannot lay claim to them because they belong to someone else. And because they belong to someone else, when they respond to what you have put out there, what emanates from you, when they respond to what is emanating from you, they become the cause, and your response, I shouldn't say response, I should say your interpretation of their activities towards you is the effect. So everything that has to do with the attraction, with attracting events towards you, is an effect in response to your action. You are the cause. Now, cliche number 2, and I'm only looking at a couple of these here. This will give you a general idea. What you give is what you get. Well, it's actually the same thing as what goes around, comes around. We just explained it. Whatever is emanating from you is going to work its way back towards you. And the way it works its way back towards you is cause, effect. And then you become cause, effect. The only difference is how I'm demonstrating it is right here and right now. And what actually takes place in the real universe is that your cause, their effect, works its way around. And how it comes back to you is determined by your receptivity. Because as you are giving something out, you are also taking something in. That's how flow works. When you pour water from a cup, that's not flow because there's nothing flowing back into the cup. However, when a river empties out into a lake, there is still water feeding it at the origin. That is flow. It's a continuous cycle. And when there's nothing there to flow out from the origin of the stream or the river or whatever, it dries up because there's no longer flow. Flow requires intake and output. That's it. Plain and simple. So coming back to this idea of what you give is what you get, the example I have here is that if I am feeling angry or frustrated, does this mean that I will attract angry and frustrated people? No. What it means is that you will attract those types of energy, and those people who are emanating that energy are more likely to respond to your energy, which is emanating outwards. We're continuously broadcasting. It's always oozing from us. Whatever emotion, whatever feelings we are experiencing is oozing outward. And because it is oozing outward, something has to come in. If you are part of the flow, then that means you are drawing that back in to perpetuate that. Fortunately, it doesn't work on a continuous basis. You really have to work at being angry. And if you don't believe me, just try being angry constantly. It is exhausting, tiring. In our natural state, we are relatively indifferent, believe it or not. And when we get excited, we are pushing that excitement out. That excitement is just oozing out of us. And try maintaining that excitement. It just doesn't work because you're putting out a lot of energy. So when someone asks you if you are happy, what they're really asking you is, are you satisfied? Because, as I said, for the most part, we are in a state of rest, a state of indifference until something attracts our attention, and then we become invested in the event that is happening. And that's what the law of attraction is about. Events are energetic. People just happen to participate in those events, but the event itself is energetic. So everything is based on cause and effect. The problems that we encounter is we don't know what part is an effect and what part is the cause, because we typically refuse to admit that we are the cause of all that we experience, whether it is joy, misery, or everything in between. I am responsible for it. I am responsible for everything I experience. Not somebody else, not the bill collectors, not what's happening in the community or across the country. I am responsible. Period. And why am I responsible? Because I choose the manner in which to respond. And when I respond, then I am causing something else. I create another ripple, and that ripple works its way out. And those people who are drawn to that ripple, it's because of the energy. The energy that I am generating draws similar energy from around me, no matter where you are at. If you are by yourself, you are still drawing that energy because there's energy all over the place. And the thing to keep in mind is that, well, people get angry all the time. It doesn't mean that they're drawn towards angry people or angry people are drawn toward them. Sometimes We just wake up that way. I do. And since I do, I can only assume that other people do as well. Just makes sense. And that energy, that anger and everything that exudes from us, well, it's just another form of energy. It's a discordant form of energy, disharmonious, but energy just the same. And energy moves from active or dynamic to potential or at rest. It just moves back and forth, back and forth. And when that specific type of energy is no longer reinforced, like I said, typically we are indifferent, we're at rest. That's our normal state. When you're watching TV, well, maybe not quite as dramatic, but you get the idea. And as I said, energy is self-perpetuating. Energy flows. We take energy in because we're pushing energy out. And for the most part, when it comes to people and circumstances and everything else, the principle of attraction is it's all about chance meetings, opportunities. That's what attraction is, opportunities. And the only way you can experience opportunities is if you are actively looking for them. Of course, because we're not consciously looking for specific opportunities, we have all these other opportunities. You could say the subconscious, back burner, whatever you want. But, there's something there about us that is watching for these opportunities. Sometimes we catch them, sometimes we miss them. But when we catch them, we choose again to act on them or to not act on them. If we act on them, then that creates a ripple all of its own. If we don't act on them, then that ripple is just voided. It is that simple. So when it comes to this principle or law of attraction, keep in mind, similar energy draws similar energy towards it. And by the way, this has been demonstrated in recent studies into energetic healing. And what they have found in their explorations is that the stronger field always draws the weaker field to it. Therefore, not only may you be drawing events, which people tend to follow events towards you, you are also being drawn to events as well. And it's always going to be comparable energies, because discordant energy is disruptive. That's been demonstrated too in their research. Discordant energy is harmful to us. And what they did in these scientific experiments, in one instance, I forget the article it was in, but in one instance, they recorded the frequencies, the healthy part of our field, and then they played it back to an unhealthy part of the field, and that healthy part that they were playing back was stronger than the unhealthy part, and it initiated a reorganization. So you could say that if you're feeling melancholy, then your field is just a little out of whack. And go find somebody who's having a good time, and that may draw you out of that melancholy. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. And yes, I'm going to pitch a little bit here because I draw this from a book I wrote. I wrote it a while ago. I'm just now getting around to teaching it. Silly me. But anyway, the book is entitled Creation by Design, and it is available at Amazon. And I want to thank you very much for checking this out, giving it a little listen, and hopefully I'll stay on task here and I'll bring another lesson to you about how this works. In the meantime, enjoy. And may your joy draw others to you to increase it manyfold.